In 1998, one of the most sophisticated funds in the world almost broke the financial system. It did not lack data. It did not lack talent. It did not lack models. It had Nobel Prize winners on the team. It had Wall Street veterans. It had elegant formulas. It had years of results that seemed to confirm the system worked. And yet, when the event arrived that did not fit inside the model stopped being a tool. It became a trap. Long-term capital management did not fail because it could not calculate. It failed because its survival depended on the future looking too much like the past. And that sentence should make you uncomfortable, because your company probably has the same dependency. Your August 1998 just has not arrived yet. Your Excel works, your dashboard works, your forecast works, your committee approves, your scenarios have ranges, your model has sensitivity. But maybe all of that is measuring only one part of risk, the part that fits in the spreadsheet, the part that already happened, the part your team can name without sounding alarmist. The problem is not that you use models. The problem is that your company may be designed to survive only if the model is right. And that is not risk management. It is faith with charts. This is not a summary of the Black Swan. We are not walking through chapters. We are not doing philosophy about Taleb. And we are not falling into the useless line of nobody can predict anything. That does not help operators. This video says something more uncomfortable. You can build a company that does not care if it cannot predict everything. We are going to run a 3-step audit. First, detect where your model is blind, not where it is wrong by a decimal, where it excludes by design, the scenario that can kill you. Second, stop optimizing for the average. Because if your business lives in a world of extremes, the average does not inform you. It sedates you. Third, design to survive without predicting, margin of safety, limits to ruin, reversible decisions, useful redundancy, protected downside, open upside. The promise is concrete. By the end of this video, you will be able to audit where your model is blind, classify whether your business lives in a world of averages or extremes, and redesign your exposure so you do not need to predict the future in order to survive it. Because companies do not fail from lack of data. They fail because their models are calibrated on a past that stops existing exactly at the moment that decides everything. Let's define Black Swan without academic language. Operationally, a Black Swan has 3 properties. First, it sits outside the model. It is not simply something improbable inside the model. It is outside what the model considers possible, relevant, or visible. Second, it has disproportionate impact. One event dominates years of results. One week erases a decade. One decision changes an industry. Third, it is explained only afterward. Once it has happened, everyone builds a narrative that makes it look obvious. The signals were there. It was only a matter of time. Everyone knew it was coming. But before the event, most people did not act as if they knew. That is the trick. After the hit, the world looks more predictable than it was before the hit, and that illusion feeds the next fragility. Taleb's turkey explains it better than any formula. For 1,000 days, the turkey gets fed. Every day confirms its model. Every day increases its statistical confidence. On day 1,000, the evidence of safety looks maximal, and the next day, the knife arrives. Executive translation. The absence of crisis in your history is not evidence of safety. It may be evidence that your sample still does not include the event that defines you. That is the mistake. Confusing an incomplete sample with a solid company. Confusing "it has not happened" with "it cannot happen." Confusing measurable risk with relevant risk. What fits in your spreadsheet is measurable. What can kill you almost never fits completely. Playbook 1. Detect where your model is blind. Every model has a hidden distribution assumption, even if nobody says it, even if the dashboard looks neutral, even if the consultant calls it data-driven. Most models assume the future will be a smoothed version of the past. More growth, less growth, best case, worst case, sensitivity, range, but all inside an acceptable mental boundary. Blindness is not in the data you have. It is in the scenarios your model excludes by design. A model can validate itself for years and fail on the only day that matters. That is why false precision is worse than recognized uncertainty. Recognized uncertainty forces you to protect yourself. False precision authorizes you to take more exposure, more debt, more concentration, more dependency, more leverage, more confidence. Clean data for dirty worlds. That is the danger. The elegant model in the spreadsheet is not the territory. It is a representation. And if the representation excludes the accident that can kill you, then the model is not reducing risk, it is hiding it. Long-term capital management is the anchor case. It did not fail from simple ignorance. It failed from precision applied to the wrong domain. Convergence models, recent history, mathematical confidence, leverage built on that confidence. And when a shock arrived that moved correlations in a way the model treated as practically impossible, the system broke. The operator's reading is not, models are bad. The correct reading is, a model can be brilliant and still be dangerous if it makes you forget what it left out. The common mistake is saying, the model has been right for 5 years, therefore the model is correct. That is turkey induction with a dashboard. It appears in another form too. It has never happened, therefore it cannot happen. No. It has never happened in your sample does not mean it cannot happen in reality. It means your sample may be incomplete. The practical action is the blindness audit. 3 tests. First, the assumption test. List every critical projection in your company. Sales, churn, costs, funding, demand, capacity, conversion, regulatory risk. Then mark which ones assume linear continuity from the past. Those are your blind windows. Second, the exclusion test. Ask which scenario does not appear in your planning because it is not realistic. That scenario is exactly what the model cannot see. Not because it is certain, but because your culture expelled it from the conversation. Third, the silent evidence test. How many companies in your sector executed the same strategy and died? If you only study the survivors, your benchmark is biased by design. You are comparing yourself to turkeys that have not yet reached November, and that benchmark can be lethal. The exit question is not, is my model well calibrated? The question is, what would have to happen for my model to stop being useful exactly when I need it most? If you cannot answer that, you do not have a model. You have a superstition in executive format. Playbook 2. Stop optimizing for the average. There are 2 worlds, Mediocristan and Extremistan. In Mediocristan, no single event moves the aggregate too much. Human height, regular consumption, repetitive processes, relatively stable operations. There, the average helps. Not perfectly, but it helps. In Extremistan, one single outlier can dominate the entire result. Markets, technology, venture capital, content, scalable sales, platforms, reputation, financial risk. There, the average can be a statistical lie. If one event can move more than 100 normal decisions, you are not in a world of averages. You are in a world of tails. And if you optimize for the average inside Extremistan, you are using the mathematics of the wrong world. That is what makes annual planning dangerous. Not because planning is bad, but because it treats different variables as if they belonged to the same type of randomness. Your payroll may live in Mediocristan. Your revenue may live in Extremistan. Your costs may move slowly. Your demand may fall in 1 week. Your operation may be stable. Your acquisition channel may disappear because of one algorithm change. If you use the same mental tool for everything, you will overprotect what is stable and underprotect what can move violently. The 2008 financial crisis shows this error brutally. The industry measured risk with tools that worked on 99% of days. The problem was the other 1%. The system was optimized for the central scenario. Maximum tolerable leverage under normal conditions. Confidence in historical correlations. Liquidity assumptions. Prices that seemed rational as long as everyone did not need to sell at the same time. But when the tail event arrived, correlations changed, liquidity disappeared, and the losses from that remaining small percentage erased years of profitability. The lesson is not, there was not enough data. The lesson is, there was aggressive optimization against the wrong distribution. Lehman Brothers is a symbol of that fragility, but the logic repeats outside finance. Nokia and BlackBerry managed the smartphone market as if it were an incremental game. Market share, gradual improvements, distribution, carriers, keyboards, brand strength. But the iPhone changed the type of game. It did not move the average. It ate the market. When a market shifts from Mediocristan to Extremistan, incremental excellence can become blindness. The common mistake is using the same planning tool for variables with different natures. Planning payroll and planning demand as if both were smooth. Planning channels and planning costs as if both moved linearly. They are not the same. The practical action is the Extremistan test. 3 questions. 1. Can a single event, customer, channel, regulation, competitor, or platform, move more than 50% of my annual result? 2. Are my historical results dominated by a few exceptional days, deals, customers, or months? 3. Is my pessimistic scenario just the average minus 20%? If you answered yes to 1, you are planning mediocristan inside extremistan, and that is an elegant form of fragility. Playbook 3. Designed to survive without predicting. The alternative to prediction is not prayer, it is exposure design. The goal is not to have the best forecast. The goal is not to die when the forecast fails. This is where nihilism breaks. The fact that black swans are unpredictable is not a condemnation. It is a competitive advantage for whoever designs structure while everyone else refines forecasts. Anti-prediction design has 4 controls. First, limit to ruin. Define the level of loss you cannot come back from. Cash, debt, customer concentration, channel dependency, regulatory risk, operational dependency. Treat it as an absolute veto, not as one more scenario. First you survive, then you optimize. Second, operating barbell. Most of the business in robust, boring, defensible operations, and a smaller part in small, cheap, reversible bets with open upside. Nothing in the middle that consumes resources without protecting you or multiplying you. Third, reversibility test. Before every major decision, ask, how much does it cost to undo this? Reversible decisions can move fast. Irreversible decisions require triple margin of safety. Fourth, real stress test. Not sales minus 20%. That is theater. Test scenarios that break correlations. Your main customer leaves and your main channel changes its algorithm in the same quarter. Your key supplier fails and your credit line gets more expensive at the same time. Your main market falls while your costs rise. If the result is ruin, the problem is not the scenario, it is your structure. Amazon Web Services works as a positive black swan case, if told carefully. AWS should not be read as a perfect prediction of the cloud market. It should be read as an internal capability that created optionality. Infrastructure, tools, know-how, systems built to solve Amazon's own internal needs. And later, that capability could become a product. The lesson is not predict the next AWS. The lesson is build capabilities with bounded incremental cost and unbounded upside. That is positioning to capture a positive event when it appears. Not a perfect master plan, not exact prediction, position, optionality, accumulated capability. The counterexample is Silicon Valley Bank. Depositor concentration, interest rate sensitive exposure, deposits from a highly correlated ecosystem, little protection against a scenario where rates rise fast and deposits leave at the same time. You do not need to predict the exact date of the bank run to see that the structure had a problem. That is the point. You do not need to guess the black swan to detect that your structure depends too heavily on it not happening. Redundancy looks wasteful in the average scenario until it is the only thing between you and ruin. Maximum efficiency is often fragility disguised as profitability. Let's synthesize. 3 playbooks as 1 operating system. 1. Audit. Your model has blind windows by design. Do not only ask what it predicts, ask what it excludes. 2. Classify. If you play in extremistan, the average lies. Do not manage a tail as if it were a repetitive operation. 3. Design. The answer is not a better forecast, it is a better structure. True strategic intelligence begins where your ability to measure ends. Do not try to predict the flood. Build a boat that does not depend on the forecast. That is the difference between a company that uses models and a company trapped by its models. The first knows the map is a tool. The second believes the map is the territory. And when the territory changes, the map does not bleed. The company does. Immediate action. This week, 3 questions, no new tools. First, what critical projection in my company assumes the future looks like the past? Write it down, no decoration. Second, can a single event move more than half of my annual result? Customer, channel, regulation, competitor, platform, financing, supplier. If the answer is yes, you are not in a world of averages. Third, what is my level of ruin and what current decision is moving me closer to it? This is the question that matters, not the comfortable pessimistic scenario, not the Excel minus 20%, your level of ruin, the loss you do not come back from, the event that takes you out of the game, the point where optimization stops mattering because you are no longer alive. Write the 3 answers. If the third one makes you uncomfortable, the video has already paid for itself, because the objective is not to leave with an opinion about Taleb. It is to leave with a decision that moves you away from ruin. This video showed you why you cannot depend on predicting the events that matter. The next logical step is anti-fragile. How to benefit from that uncertainty once you accept that you cannot fully model it. Here, we do not summarize books. We turn them into operating systems for real operators. If that is what you are looking for, stay. And before you leave, answer in the comments. What critical projection in your company assumes the future looks like the past? And if that projection fails in the quarter that matters most, what breaks first? Do not answer with optimism. Answer with your level of ruin in your hand. See you in the next playbook.